Am I on? Okay. We have some props today. Excuse my, I don't know. I made that one, yeah, so it is what it is. It is a tree. Yeah, you can tell, right? It's a tree. It's a stick. All right, what is God doing? Somewhat of a rhetorical question. So God, we just check in. You were with us this morning. You're working. And we just want to give you space. We want to give you time. We want to give you ourselves. So this next part of our Sunday is yours too, and I lay my plans down. There's a lot of directions you can go today, and I want to partner with what you are doing. So, I was going to say that'd be not. So it'd be nice if you would show me. It would be. So I will just say, like, this is an interactive time, and so if you're sensing something, if you have a piece, let me know. Talk to Greg or James too, they kind of know what's going on. When I was preparing and when James and I met this week, it was, what are we gonna do with this up here? And so I don't take that lightly. These aren't things. These are your hearts. These are your lives. My heart is up there, my life. And so we want to honor that. We want to, again, partner with what God is doing with this. I feel like this is Jubilee. This is what we have been working on all year. And so how do we finish well? How do we take the next step well? I don't know if finish is even, we're not there. So maybe I'll start this way. If you put an item up, who is like, it's done, I know exactly what it meant, God did his work, and like I'm ready for the next thing. Anyone? This will just kind of help me gauge where we are. Okay, so then who is more like, I have no idea. Like God had me do this item, I know it means something, but I don't know what. Is anyone on, I kind of did two ends. So we have a couple of those, okay. So are we mostly in the middle? We know what God is working on, okay. But it's not done, and we don't know what's next.
That's fair.
Fair? Okay. that's where I was, and now I'm just trying to like what happened this morning, what we did this morning. We sang about the altar in a roundabout way with the fire, and we surrender our things, we surrender ourselves. We said, God, come burn us up.
Light the fire, baby. Burn it.
Burn it all, yeah. So that's where we are.
So we can't take it back.
And we can leave it there. And we can look at it for the rest of our lives and not be different. I think this is what Jeremy was hitting on. Or we can leave it up there and we can stay with it. Like not literally like hanging on to the rocks. But we can say yes. We can say this is gonna hurt. This might get ugly. But I'm either gonna stay here or I'm gonna move forward in his promises. So I don't know that well, we know there's not a formula, but we also need some like this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna do it. So I'm gonna start today, or we're gonna talk today about like this is a way we can move forward. It's one way. If you get a nugget out of today, or if the whole thing is meaningful for you today, hallelujah. But we're it's a process. This could be a step in the process. If nothing else, it's a fan of that flame to what God is doing. We'll see where I can jump in now. So it feels like with our items, we represented like identity. So just to be clear too, like the items represent just what God is doing in our lives as we surrender to Him and what He is working in our life. So some of those items can represent our identity, who we are, who we once were, and it can also represent who God is, like being who God created us to be. Some of us, our items represented our priorities. A big one was how we spend our time. That was a big one that was up there. Some of our items just represent our realization of a principle that we hold on to, maybe that we live by, or that is meaningful to us. And so if you remember, I had the shoes. These were my shoes that I brought. Oh man, I know it still hurts. And I think what I shared, sorry if you guys haven't been along the journey, but it's been a long one, so we'll just summarize. Is I had to give up my new shoes. It was painful. And I think I shared last time that they represented like the feeling or the belief that I was too much. I'm a lot, I think is what it was. And so I'm going to share a little bit of my process and because I have moved forward. See if you can relate to that. I'll try to give you just enough to relate, but to then apply then to your life. A quote that kind of stuck out to me this week as I was preparing was, "Progress is impossible without change." So we all want to go forward. We all want that new thing. We all want that promise, that thing He's promised us. We all want it. But how many of us want to change? How many of us want to give up, like really give up that thing that we don't want to give up? How many of us are? I mean, it's fear, right? I don't want to change because I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what it's going to cost me. I don't know how bad it's going to hurt. There's another good quote. I didn't write this one down, so I'll probably butcher it, but it's, we're not afraid that God is good. We're afraid of how much it's going to hurt to experience His goodness.
Yeah.
The first one was George Bernard Shaw, and the other one was the guy that wrote Grief Observed. Just lost his name. So what do we need to do to change? Oh, sorry, I didn't finish the George Bernard Shaw one. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. That was kind of key. I needed to go back to that, right? Yeah, so I'll read that one again. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. So that's what we're going to focus on today, is changing our minds. Because if you want to change your behavior, if you want to change how you feel, if you want to change the choices you're making, you have to change your mind. So first off, we're going to dive into some science. I'll try to keep this part short because, I'll be honest, I don't completely understand it. But Dr. Caroline Leaf is a Christian neuroscientist. Amazing. I mean, my mind is blown. She's like, I'll give you the simple version. And I'm still like, I have no idea what she just said. But when she started her research, I believe she's in her late 60s right now. When she started her research working, they believe the mind was could not be changed. The brain could not be changed. Yeah, and so her breakthrough experiment, if you will, was a young woman was in a car accident and could not walk, could barely talk, a couple other things, and like all the other doctors had written her off, like she'll never change. Find a nursing home or a facility where she can live out basically the rest of her days until her body gives out. And she said, no, I do not believe that that's her destiny. And the patient was a believer, Caroline Leaf is a believer, and so they were doing brain scans all along, and as they did their work, her brain scans changed. Her brain was not damaged anymore. And so I love that story. That's a TED Talk if you want to Google that. You'll cry, so it's awesome. And so she went from there, and how can we take this science and apply it to our everyday lives and the everyday person, and what is our mind, how does it work, what's our mind versus our brain, because it's not the same. Our mind is a non-physical force, an energetic system of thought, feeling, and choice. Yeah, does it sound familiar? And in part of there, she's got a section in here that's your soul, in a lot of language with a lot of different people. So, thought, feeling, choice. And so when we want to renew our mind or change our mind, it's not just how we think, it's how we think, feel, and choose. Well, I didn't have that written down, so we want to change our mind, we have to change how we think, feel, and choose. And we can sit here and say, well, I don't know how. God, change me. And sometimes He does. And it's awesome. And if He does that, celebrate it, testify, all the stuff. And I've had those moments where I've just been like, what just happened? And I'm different. I'm making different choices, I'm feeling different emotions, and I'm thinking different thoughts. But I've had most of them, those are few and far between. Most of the time, it is intentional work and practice. So I'm going to read just a few things, again, because it's real. I wanted to show you that this is kind of real, and her points. So in this book, she starts out every chapter in this little gray box with a scripture and then a linked science concept, because science should confirm the Bible. Yes. So she does that. She does that so well. She cites things. She brings the Bible into every single chapter, every single point. Great stuff. And so Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And the linked concept with that, thoughts are real, physical things that occupy mental real estate moment by moment, every day, you are changing the structure of your brain through your thinking. When we hope, it is an activity of the mind, not the brain, the mind that changes the structure of our brain in a positive and normal direction. So thoughts are real, they change our brains. Your mind is the most powerful thing in the universe after God. Free will and choice are real, spiritual, and scientific facts. She cites Deuteronomy 30:19 for that one. Your mind, soul, has one foot in the door of the spirit and one foot in the door of the body. You can change your brain with your mind and essentially renew your mind. Romans 12:2. You can develop your spirit through choices you make in your mind to be led by the Holy Spirit. Your body is not in control of your mind. Your mind is in control of your body. And your mind is stronger than your body, hence the saying, mind over matter. You are not a victim of your biology. You cannot, I know, it's like, you cannot control the events and circumstances of your life, but you can control your reaction to those events and circumstances. Matthew 7:13 and 14, and Galatians 6:7 and 8. When you think, you build thoughts, and these become physical substances in your brain. As he thinks in his heart, so he is. Proverbs 23:7. Good thinking equals good choices equal healthy thoughts. Toxic thinking equals toxic choices equals toxic thoughts. Deuteronomy 30:19. You are designed to stand outside yourself and observe your own thinking and change it. Romans 12:2, 2 Corinthians 10:5, Philippians 3:13 through 14. You are designed to recognize and choose the right things to think about. Joshua 24:15, Ecclesiastes 7:29, Isaiah 32. Each morning when you wake up, you have new baby nerve cells born into your brain to use wisely as you remove bad thoughts and wire in new ones. This is called neurogenesis. There's a lot more. I won't bore you all, but that's the premise of the book. And it's, to me, I wanted to share that for hope. There is hope that this can be different, that going forward can be real difference, can be real change. That does excite me. And so one of her biggest props, if you get on her podcast or YouTube channel, she has an app, she will pretty consistently bring out her 2 trees. So these are your thoughts. And thoughts are your thinking, feeling, and choosing. So this gets really kind of complicated, but also it's very simple, I promise. Let me get to the website. I didn't want to copy all this, so I found one like a pretty decent blog of hers that summarized it for good. So this is a toxic thought. Wah, wah. And so the roots, well, then this is a healthy one. So the roots of each tree are the real life things, like what actually happened. So this is, so the roots are what you experienced. The roots, like me, you listening to me is in the roots. You can't dispute that. I mean, you may not be listening, but you're here. So that's in the roots. That's just like, you can't, it's facts. Memories are on both ends, but there's memories in there. Careful, our brains are super powerful and tricky, but that's another thing. Just real events and circumstances, and our brains can unconsciously process those things like by the billions in a second. Like they're constantly processing all of these bits of data and filing it away and interpreting it and matching it with past experiences. That's good and bad. The trunk, so then if this is generally the roots are life. This is just what happens. This is your everyday living, being in the world, what you experience with your five senses, all that is the roots. Then the trunk is how you process that. Your filter, if you will. And so, of those billions of bits of data that you get every second, you only consciously process a couple thousand of them. I think she said 4. Do you think we do that accurately?
No.
No, we do not. And then we start to get into trouble. And then the leaves and the branches are how we live out what we processed. So in the healthy tree thought, these are our healthy thinking, feeling, choosing. Are we tracking?
Yeah.
Like, does anyone, like right now would be a good time if you have a question. I'm not guaranteeing I can answer it, but yes.
What's the name of the book?
Oh yeah, this one is Switch On Your Brain. Switch On Your Brain, Dr. Caroline Leaf. Her other good one is Clean Up Your Mental Mess. And then she has one for kids, like if you want to start processing this with your kids, that's really like, she simplifies it and gives you step-by-steps how to help your kids process roots. I actually kind of like that one a lot too. It's good. She has Brainy. It's kind of funny. And then in her podcast, she like gets the stuffed brain. You could buy the gift box too. It's got the stuffed brain, and you teach your kids. It's cheesy, but it's kind of funny. So when we're living our best life and our tree is healthy and we're making good choices and we have good emotions and we are thinking good thoughts, life is full of fruit. Fruit of the Spirit we practice self-control, we have joy, we're gentle, we're kind, we're loving. Awesome. Then we have this tree. And unfortunately, this is where a lot of the world lives. And so we have things that have happened. We have our life, and we have our root. And then we process it, and it doesn't come out well. And so we're not kind, and we're not loving. And we're not gentle. And so if God is working on something in you, I'm going to make a leap, and I'm going to say you have a toxic tree. I did. So no condemnation. If someone tells you they don't have a negative toxic tree, thought tree, they're lying. Now, is every thought I have toxic? No. But he wanted to show me I had one, and he wanted me to work on it. And it was scary, and it was overwhelming, and I didn't want to do it. So what did I do? I have made an appointment with my therapist because I won't make it and not show up. I'm too cheap. I'm not going to pay because I got to pay if I go or not, so I went. I'm not going to waste my $30 copay. I don't know if I have a copay. Yeah, I don't know how. I hope I don't have to pay for the whole thing if I don't go. I don't know. I've never not gone. Anyway. And also, I'm cheap, so I don't want to waste money. So 2 days before I went was when I had time. It was like Wednesdays are really busy. My appointment was Thursday morning. Wednesdays are really busy for me, so I know I wouldn't have time. So Tuesday morning, which was like for me the latest I could put this off, I sat down with my journal and I was like, okay, what are we going to work on Thursday? Because if I'm not ready to go when I get there, I'm going to have to make another appointment, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to come with the pump primed. I'm cheap. I don't like wasting my time or my money. And so I sat in my mind, because my shoes were here. In my mind, I sat with my shoe in my lap. And I was like, okay, I know that I am not worthless. I know that I am not too much. I know that you created me wonderfully and special and I'm fantastic. But it doesn't feel like that. And so I engaged. This thing starts like bubbling up in me and I have anxiety and I'm overwhelmed and okay, what is that? So that a lot of times, let's be honest, that's when we check out. I don't want to push through that. I don't want to know what's under there. I just don't want to do it. I got to the point there at home. So I prayed and asked God to show me, like, where is this coming from? And so I had two things. I have I'm too much, and I have this feeling, and it's kind of hard to, or it's just, I can't really explain it all. This is, I'm gonna throw up, is how it feels. So these two things, and I'm holding them, and I'm like, okay, God, where does that come from? And he showed me a memory. So I had something in my root system here that happened in real life. It was something that was spoken over me. And I was like, okay, good, close my notebook, and now I can go to my therapist, because I'm not gonna touch this anymore, and I don't have to, and I have 2 more days I have to live real life. So I cannot just like fall into a pit and not be able to move. I have to like, okay, so I put it in a little box, and it showed up on Thursday, and she was like, what do you want to work on? And I like these 2 things, and she said, okay, and we worked on them. I don't know if I've said here, I do EMDR with her, and so it's like tapping is another way that uses the same science. And so just to say that, there's lots of ways, like once you get to that point, there are a lot of ways to work it out. You do not have to do it the same way as me, you don't have to do it the same way as James, you don't have to do it the same way as anyone, like however God shows you. But if the fruit does not change in your life, you have not dealt with it. Okay? So there's a lot of times I will journal, and I'm like, oh good, I'm good, I got it, I got the answer. But my life doesn't change. And then I go, oh, okay, God. So we gotta keep going. And sometimes it's an onion, and you're peeling off layers, getting to that core root, and figuring it out. And so I got a truth. And I went back to that memory that was really, really, really painful, and how many times have I even talked to you about that memory in general? Many, many times in the last year. Like, this is a pretty defining moment in my life, and I was pissed off about it. So most of the time when I was like, I would tell this story about this person, and I don't want to see him, and I don't want to talk to him, and if I do see him, I'm going to be mean to him. Okay, yeah. And then I'd be like, no, I'm not going to really be mean to him, but yeah, I want to be. But I want to. So even if I'm not, I've already kind of sinned because I wanted to be mean to him. So I got the truth. We went back to the memory. I started laughing. I was laughing so hard. She said, what is wrong? Like, what is wrong with you? And I just said, I don't know, but it's okay. That's all I can tell you is it's okay. And she was like, what do you mean? And I go, I don't know. But the root is still there. That guy still said that thing to me. There's witnesses. There was 12 people in the room. But now I'm not processing it the same as I was. And now I'm laughing when I think about it. When I see him the next time, do you think I'm going to have to try really hard to be nice? Probably not. I think I'm actually a little bit looking forward to it. I thought about, should I refriend them on Facebook? 'Cause I had like, never talking to this guy again, right? It's like, I maybe should just to like, see what it stirs up now. I didn't do it. We're not gonna tempt fate too much. I'm not saying I will never have to go back and keep working on that. Because God may reveal something else. But I can say, I'm different. And I changed. And I can now choose differently, I can feel differently, and I can think differently about that person, about that event, but more importantly, about myself. What he said over me is not true. My interpretation of that was I'm a liability of what he said. He did not say I was a liability. That was my interpretation. So that was my process, incorrect processing over here is I'm a liability. And here, I think this is where the laughter came. Because I didn't get this piece until the next day when I journal then afterwards too, because that's like part of rewiring your brain. That part's in there, we'll get to it later. So I was processing afterwards and writing out like what I thought happened, and then God said, "You're not a liability, you're my wild card." Which is also really scary. Sorry, James. You're gonna have to deal with my... That changed here in the trunk. That's where that happened. Are we tracking?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm going to ask you to do next?
Can I get a
Yeah.
clarity here?
Sure.
Some people- Okay. Hold on.
Yes.
Okay. This has to be a visual. So,
One way we've been
I
taught
have
this,
this too.
yeah,
Okay.
the trees are right.
Okay.
So we're body, soul, and spirit. And there's a door here and a door here. This door is spring-loaded open. This door is spring-loaded shut. So when something happens, we naturally, the door to the flesh, to our own devices, is wide open, and we can choose to go that way and do what is natural. Or when something happens to us, we can push the door to the spirit open, say, God, how do you want to help me do that? And so we're not helpless in the middle where our body, soul, and spirit is. This is our soul realm, fleshly realm, spiritual realm. We live in this place in the middle, but we have a choice every time which way we want to go. Unfortunately, this door is spring-loaded open, and so it's very easy to go back to the way we always did things before. But if we open the door to the spirit, this door has to shut. It has to shut. So what we need to do is turn towards the spirit. Is that
Amen.
helpful?
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts? Yeah.
Say so, that memory was a toxic root.
It was just a root.
Oh, okay. It doesn't.
This is what, this part, the trunk is what determines if the tree becomes toxic or healthy. The roots are the same on both trees.
yes.
Okay? Yep. So in our roots, we have those things that happen to us that are bad. I don't think what that guy said to me was like something I should have just, I don't, like, do you hear what I'm saying? Okay. There's trauma. There is legit trauma in people's roots.
Yeah.
There's abuse, there's neglect, there's intentional harm, there's just loss, there's grief, there's words spoken over us. When we're young, it's very potentially just misinterpreted events in our lives. We don't expect 5-year-olds to process their life perfectly. And so even if I didn't have a traumatic childhood, I was never abused. You still have things that you could have processed incorrectly. So how do we go forward with this information and our altar? Because I think that's the work God started this morning during our worship set. He's doing something here, and he wants you to press through and change the way you're processing something. So I brought the board because I didn't know, does anyone want to say, I have something I want to work on, and you can be a guinea pig and we can see where it goes? Because I'm telling you, that is the best way to learn. When someone's willing to be vulnerable and sit in the hot seat, because then you guys all learn that you can all do this. This is not something that I do because, well, Jess is Jess. I am Jess, but. And we're going to start with the item you brought. So you already got your starting point. Anybody? Anybody willing?